the FNL Network talk show.
Hello, and welcome to the FNL Network talk show. I'm your host, David Stowe, and along with our co-hosts, we've got Rocco, we've got Odair, Amanda, Brana, Sasha, and Corey. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Thank you.
How are you?
Doing great. Looks like we have a full house today. We haven't had this many people on before, so I think today's questions are going to be awesome, man. So, I'm going to go ahead and just get right into it right off the bat. We've been dealing with politics, in America just forever. I don't know about you guys. I've gotten to the point where I'm burned out on it, but there is a lot of things that need to be answered, and it seems to me like a lot of it's going out there that a lot of people can't understand. Nobody knows what's real news, what's fake news, who's got policies, what the policies are. It's almost as if nobody even has a real understanding of what's going on. I don't think any of us do. But so that leads me into my first question. What is the probability of Donald Trump winning the next presidential election based on what we've seen so far? I'm going to go ahead and start off with Brana. What's your thoughts on this, Brana?
So my thought is that I'm always wrong in predicting the election. I thought that Trump would win last time, and I was completely wrong. And being in New York City, I was a little bit glad because everyone was celebrating in the streets, and I was a little bit afraid that if Trump had won, that there would be riots and some danger here. So on a purely, practical level, I was a bit relieved during that period of time. But this election, it's really tight. But I will disagree that there are some people talking about the policy, and I actually saw RFK, his speech, and I really like some of the things that he said in there about taking care of the health system, banning toxic chemicals from the food, and this sort of thing. So I think there are people talking about policy, but people want to make it about mudslinging. So that's my take.
I think the mudslinging has burned everybody out. Everybody's tired of it. They don't want to hear about it. What about you, Odair?
Yes, for me, I think the possibility for him winning is very big, actually. And it all starts with everything is a game. And it's important to know which game they are playing. And sometimes I doubt that we even know what game it is. For me, here in Europe, in the Netherlands, I'm looking at throughout a distance. So for me, it's like, okay, what game are they playing? I don't understand. And the chances of him winning for me is like 90 to 95%, I think. And that's based on the connections that he has and the influence that he has. I think we underestimate that. So people have to vote and be on their opinion about what they want it to be for their future and be vocal about it. So that for me is what I think.
I spent the beginning of the summer in Europe, and I was actually shocked how much everybody in Europe was watching, the race in America, and how many people were actually caring. Here in America, we're pretty selfish. We don't really, we don't care about anything, outside of America half the time. And I was just really surprised of how many people I came across in Europe that were talking about it. And, I thought that we were a joke to the rest of the world. And the truth is they're waiting to see what happens, because apparently America still has a stronghold in the world, and what we do in our politics affects the rest of the world. And so I thought that was extremely interesting.
Yes, it's world news. It's world news. It's everywhere, and people watching. And to be honest, if it's a joke, it's not a joke, but it is entertainment, because you see a lot happening. And
Oh yeah,
let's take an example to the shooting last time. Some people say it was set up. Some people say it was really what happened, and it's very excited and entertainment for people to see, and it's world news, and people around the world, everybody cares about each other. So we care about what's happening in the US, and it has influence on the whole world. So we all do care. Yes.
Yeah, we're all connected.
We
Yes.
are. Yeah, it is. Hey,
Absolutely.
welcome, Holly. You made
Hello. Yes.
Welcome.
Hello,
Glad you
everyone.
made
So
it.
glad to see you.
Well, so Holly, just to keep you up to date with what we're doing already, we just asked what is the probabilities of Donald Trump winning the next presidential election? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you a little breather right now to catch up, but I'm going to let Amanda go right now. Amanda, welcome to the show, Amanda.
Hi, how's everybody? The probability, I think, of Donald Trump winning is it's going to be a tight race. And I was worried that he was going to win. He was really up at around 71% at one point, and I think there's been a major turn with Harris coming in, and I think that is representative of women wanting to really gain some leadership and stand up for themselves and make this world a better place and be more communal, as opposed to like the me, myself, and I, and the big corporations and all the things. And I think that, you know, with the rise of Harris and as many donations as she's gotten so far, I think she's now reached the in the history of the Americas, it's now at 5 million at 41 right now. So that's the biggest donation raise ever, and it's from small donations. So that means a lot.
I'm sorry, is it 500 million? I think she
It's
raised
541 million is what I meant to say. Yes.
541
Sorry.
million. Okay, because it was 500,000. Right?
No,
500,000 million. Now it's 541,000 million.
It's
$500 million, basically.
It's $541 million that she's raised as of, I think, today. And that's within a month, you guys. So, and these are small donations. These are 5, 20, 100, to a couple of thousand, and then, you know, up into the tens and hundreds, of course, and millions. But these are all small donations. And I think it's a real testament as to where we're actually wanting to go as a nation. So I think the policies and just the way that Trump views women and minorities is just not where we're going. So I honestly know, and I could feel this coming. I could just feel it coming way before Harris was on the scene. My friends are Trump supporters. I live in a very conservative area, and I'm like, I'm telling you right now, something is going to happen that's going to knock him off the pedestal, and there's going to be this resurgence and this movement of women and gay people and all the people that look different rising, because that's really America. You know, that really is America. It's not just white Anglo-Saxon people. It is America is a mishmash and a melting pot of people, and we all deserve to be heard and get a fair shake at something really amazing that America has always provided, which is the opportunity of real freedom and real, you know, riches and wealth and all the things that you want to do in the white picket fence, whatever your dream is, right? So I don't think he's going to win. I really don't. I think the probability is dropping by the second, because we're just on a trajectory of community and rising and hope and joy, instead of the same stuff we've been dealing with for the past, God, 100 years. So
I see the excitement on your face and the glow.
yeah.
I like seeing that. It's
Yeah,
coming
I'm
here.
very excited. I'm very excited. Yeah.
Awesome. Sasha, what about you? What's your thoughts on this?
I think it's amazing what Amanda just said. I'm just like in awe from it. You know, it's like amazing. I would agree with that. You know, we've seen President Trump or ex-President Trump before as a president. And I think that it's time to see someone else, someone new, someone fresh.
Yeah.
And I think that Harris could be the president, 100% sure. And if she's going to win, I'm not sure of that. You know, I'm still in doubt. There's a lot of people from the Midwest that is going to vote for Trump for sure. Not even going to argue with that. But again, this has to do with diversity. This has to do with race. This has to do with expressing yourself, who you are as a person, as Amanda also said. And I think that it would be bad for the brand America, if we can say it like that. If we look at it as almost like a corporation, because we've done that a lot with Trump. But if we look at it in a bigger and global picture, then it's not good for the brand of America to have Trump as a president.
Mm-hmm.
it really does not look good. Where Harris would be much better because she's much better vocal, she has a better attitude, and she has a background that also backs it up. And we need that. And we need to be more inclusive than exclusive. And what Trump is always talking about is excluding people all the time, talking about immigrants, and immigrants should not be allowed to be in America. But come on, America was built by immigrants, and we have to remember that, and we have to stand together and be united as the United States of America. So, and I think that Harris could be a really good president.
Okay.
It's very interesting to hear what you're saying about looking at America like a brand. I never thought about it in that way, but actually it's a very good point, actually.
Yes, I agree. That's an amazing point. And I think that we do need a rebrand 100%. So I agree with that for sure.
Rocco, what is your thoughts on this?
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of questions, open-ended questions for people to think about. So before I go into my spiel, I want to let everyone know that I have met Trump, and
Me too.
I've met his family. Who said me too? Sorry.
Oh, I
Amanda?
did. Yeah.
Amanda.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I did business with one of his companies. I didn't get paid. I sue. I won. He shook my hand. He lied to me. But that was me on a personal level with him, right? His daughter was amazing. His ex-wife was amazing. His son is amazing, actually. But this was a long time ago. Very, very long time ago. So that's my personal history with him. When he won, I was in Europe, and I felt fear because I thought to myself, oh my God, like what's going to happen? Are we going to go into war? I thought we were going to have some crazy war. So he won, but I was in Europe. I spent a lot of my time in Europe. Come back to America. Okay, no wars, no conflicts, nothing crazy. So fast forward to today. So my questions is this: how can any person vote when there's no clear policy structure? So if you go on the website of Harris, there's only buttons to donate, but there's no clear defined policy of how she's going to handle certain things. The only thing we know about Harris is she's going to give $25,000 to first-time home buyers. She wants to put caps on food, so there's, you can't raise the price a certain amount of, and then there's some other capping, which for me it sounds communistic. It sounds like, former Soviet Union style. And ultimately, giving money isn't free. Someone's paying for it. We all saw what happened when we all got our stimulus checks. The prices shot through the roof. And then spending money, inflation happens, right? You can't just give away money, and you're not giving it away. Someone else is paying for it. The other thing is, we have an immigration issue big time. I mean, I live in Los Angeles. I think anyone here that you can see it. And so I'm married to an immigrant, and we did it the right way. I don't think it's fair that, I did it the right way, but then millions of people just come across the border and they're getting all these free handouts. I get it. I'm a first generation American. My entire family came from Italy, but they did it the right way. So I think doing it the right way is the way to do it, not illegally. There is a reason why the Democratic Party allowed loose lips, let's say, on the border to allow people in. And my opinion, and I've seen it with my own eyes, is to allow these people to vote. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and he's like, that's not true. I'm like, look, I had family that were immigrants that came in the right way, and they had registration to vote mailed to my home for them to register to vote. I saw it with my own eyes in Los Angeles, which was just crazy. So, and I also saw the speech from RFK Jr., and it was the first time in my entire life I heard anyone talk about healthy food and keeping chemicals out of the food. I never heard that before. I'm all for that. And then I saw a meme online, make America healthy again. Every time I go to Europe, I lose 10 pounds. I don't change anything. And I'm there for a month or two. I come back to America and I put on the weight. We have a huge health crisis here that leads all into pharmaceuticals. It's like this massive, dirty, dirty business to make us sick, to go get the medicine. I mean, it's just horrible. So if RFK Jr. could come in and make something happen and clean that up, it would be amazing. It would be amazing. And everything he said really hit home for me on his speech. He explained everything about Ukraine. He explained everything. And he actually went to the Democratic Party and tried to align with Harris. And they just shut the door on him. Not only did they shut the door on him, they kicked him off the ballot in so many places that he couldn't even try to compete. So there's something to be said when one group or some imaginational something is pushing and doing everything they can to get someone else off the ballot, not let him compete. Let's try to, negative, and then another group that's just open and say, okay, come, let's chat, let's have a conversation. It's super confusing. All this lying, you turn into CNN, you turn into Fox, they're all contradicting each other. And the statement that resonates with me the most that I heard, and I want everyone to really ask themselves this question, and I think this should be seriously a determining factor on who you're going to vote for. And Ronald Reagan said this: was your life better before 4 years ago when Trump was president, or is it better now? What's better? And then that should be the
question that I wanted to ask. That's actually the question that I wanted to ask, because I spoke to a lot of business people running businesses, and they had a certain opinion about that. But I'm in Europe, so I am not there and living it like you guys are. So I really wanted to know that. So that's a very good question, and I'm looking forward to hearing the answer.
Especially since in Europe, you guys, everything that your economy is also based off of what we do. Right. And I've realized that, and I see that a lot. So I mean, you're both right on that one.
If I want there to be an open, transparent government. I want a government that cares about the people. I want a government that really will take care of us, but not give handouts, because that's not the way to grow the economy. I believe a government should be run by brand and by a business type of corporation. And we need to be respected and somewhat feared around the world. I like I said, I felt fear when Trump won the first time, and I thought we were going to go to war. I didn't think that we were going to go to war when Biden was president, but look at what's happening. I don't believe we're safer today with the Democratic Party running the show. I don't even believe the Democratic Party is the Democratic Party that we even knew. They're so far left than what it used to be. Like, imagine a Kennedy endorsed Trump. That's wild. Like Elon. Yeah, please.
I'm sorry. You made so many really great points and so many things that are just like stirring in me.
Please.
First, you cannot vote unless you're a citizen. We all know that. You have to be an American citizen in order to vote. I don't know what exactly is going on at the border. I admit I'm not up on that. I do know it's an issue, but I don't think it's the issue. I think one of the biggest issues is our human rights as people and women in America. And you want someone that represents that. And I do want our America to be ran like a business and have the checks and balances in order and all the things. But this is also a community of people. And it needs to be governed like that as well. And everyone is their own individual person. And I think the overreach of what Donald Trump was going to or might do if he does become president is too much. We need someone that's a little bit more progressive and neutral and not constantly berating you with, you don't have body autonomy. You can't marry who you want to marry. You can't, switch your sex, like all the things. Like, who cares what they're doing? I don't want to hear about the president all the time. I want to hear I want to look at my bank account and be like, this is awesome. I love the money that I'm making. I love that my neighbor is doing well. I love that America feels good. It feels safe, you know? And I believe that things are, you know, the rotten underbelly of America is showing right now, because it always gets worse before it gets better. And it has to be shown. The prejudice has to be shown. The dirtiness and all the mucky things that have been hiding in the shadows need to be exposed in order for it to alchemize, essentially. So, you know, and by the way,
can you be specific about his overreach?
his overreach, it's Project 2025, and his overreach
not
with
Oh, but
electing,
he
hold
has
on,
nothing to do with
hold on,
Trump.
with yes, it does, with electing 3 Supreme Court justices that took my right away as a woman, you know, and took the right away of my neighbor and
But
my
they
best
didn't
friend and
take the
their
right
daughters.
away.
They
He gave it to the
absolutely
state.
did. I know,
The
but
Supreme
here's the
Court
thing,
gave
you
it to
guys
the
listen.
state.
You guys
The
listen.
what?
For a second, listen, this is the problem with giving it to the state, because if you have a right-winged governor that does not believe in abortion, they will take it away, and they will place people in very strategic positions to make sure to make it more difficult for a woman to make a choice on her own. That is not right. And where does that stop, right? Where does it stop?
Why do you
That's
think?
what scares
What do you
me.
think is the purpose to giving it to the states? Why would we give anything like that to the states? Like, do you understand the purpose of
I don't
why
understand
states
the
would have a
purpose of
separate
that. I
one?
think that was a mistake. I think it was a
Well,
mistake, because you don't
Jo-
like it
So
should
can I
it should
explain? Can I explain from my understanding, especially of the history of the country, the reason you give it to the states and that it doesn't become a national thing is because you have the freedom to go to another state where this is allowed.
Okay, so that's the
But
thing.
if it becomes a
Can I cut you
national
off
law,
right there?
well,
That's the
let me
thing.
finish. Can I finish first?
Sure, go ahead.
It becomes a
Yes.
national, if it becomes a national law, right? You don't have the option of not even talking about moving, just driving to another state, right? But when you give it to the states, it's still up to a vote. And if everybody votes and you're not happy with the way that that state voted, you don't get to take away from everybody that there were a bunch of women in that state that also voted in favor of this. And
But
what I see pretty often when we talk about it is he's saying immigration is a pretty important issue. You said you don't think it's the most important. From what I'm hearing right now, it might be abortion that you think is the most important. And
well,
abortion's the
can I
most
just say
important.
something? As a woman, I should not have to cross my state line to get an abortion. I should just be able to drive down the street and go get it. That's the thing about having it federally legal, is that my rights are protected federally, that I don't have to uproot myself and go across the border because I have, you know, some governor and some people in the state that don't like that. That is not
Okay,
that
but
is not
as
how
a woman,
America
as
is.
a man, I don't speak for every other man out there. But every time this kind of stuff comes up as a woman, you get to speak for every woman out there.
I'm not speaking for every woman, but neither should that law
But
speak for
that
me.
statement though, whenever we use that, I'm just talking about communication when we all want to talk with each other. That statement implies that as a woman, you have something that I can't speak to, something that I'm not supposed
Which
to have a part,
statement?
or that my wife, who is also a woman who has opposing views, is being spoken for by anyone else who says, well, as a woman, I should have this or that. The point of voting is that the people get to decide, and if the majority of them do vote that way, that's what happens. If you decide it at a national level, and we're only deciding it on the vote over who became president or not, you give the power to the states. Now we have more opportunities, 50 more opportunities to change minds and make decisions about the very
No,
thing.
I'm sorry, I don't agree. I don't agree, because the thing is, if you
You can
put it in
disagree
the
all you want.
hands,
That's a fact.
if
That's a
you
fact.
put,
That's how the
but if
Can
you
states
we,
work.
well,
That's the
can we
point.
go back to the wall situation? Because I think that Amanda emphasized, she said, I don't know how big of a problem it is. And I kind of feel like she's touching on a huge issue, because it is a big deal. It is a bigger deal. And it's kind of the number one topic right now that is stirring everyone, whatever political party you are. It is a huge deal, because the wall was started, that they were starting to completely block out people, and then they just stopped abruptly, and then blamed it on the fact that there were no more finances to do it, or whatever, you know, hoax they did. It has caused a huge problem, and it has caused and has bred violence, and it has bred many things. So Amanda, while
Fentanyl, drugs, deaths.
you guys, I'm
you
not
name
saying
it,
that it's
you
not a
name
big
it.
issue. I'm just saying, in my world, immigration is not the number one thing that I think about every day. That's not what I think about. I'm not saying it's not an issue. I know that it is. And I would like to see it fixed and figured out, but I'm not saying I stress about that every day. That's what
I get
Well, the
that.
good
what I would
thing is
say.
you live in
get
a
that,
state
and I'm
right
not
now that
trying to.
allows that. I
Yeah,
mean,
I get
you
that.
live
I'm
in a
not trying to
state right now
minimize.
that allows you to have your opinion or what you want, and that's good. And I think what Corey's trying to say is that, you know, if we were go federal would mean we don't have any other options. We have to follow the federal law. But the allowing 50 different states gives you 50 different options. Now,
50
when
different
you
options
talk
for
about
what?
to go to those states and do what you need to do, the problem is with that
Abortion.
To make that
is
decision.
Why would I need to
if
do that?
if the average
You don't, but
person,
there are other people who do. It's
if
not.
if
It's not
I
a
somebody
know, but
wants
for 50
scientific fact.
years, for 50 years, Roe v. Wade was in place and it protected women and their right to get medical care. Like, why change it now?
Because
Well,
it didn't
because-
protect children, and that's actually a part of this issue that nobody ever wants to talk about. It does protect children. It didn't protect children
It
for
pr-
50 years.
No, it's so
It didn't
we got to
protect children
define
for
we got to
50
define
years.
the fetus and the child, right? Is it a baby or a
Cool.
fetus? It's a
But
fetus.
nobody ever wants to have that conversation.
That's an
Hey, we
opinionated
can.
conversation.
We
Then let's have
100% can.
We can
Then
have
let's
it.
have
It's
that
one of the
conversation.
questions
We
that
can
I've been
But I
wanting
don't
to
think it's
ask
one
for
of the
years.
questions.
I haven't
Let's
asked it
have
on here, and you know what? Next
Let's
time I
ask it.
host, I'm
We
going to
should.
go ahead and start off with that one because apparently this might be a good
Fetus,
conversation.
a
It might last a
child,
whole hour.
upon conception, is it a child or a fetus?
When you think
Right.
about it, that's when it exists.
Brana, good one.
Yeah, good one. Good one. I
Well,
actually
shoot, I thought about it the first time I messed up and went, uh-oh. That baby existed before it existed.
Yeah. No, Amanda, I'm not trying to minimize
Butterfly effect.
your point on it, Amanda. I'm not
I
trying to
don't
minimize
think you
your
are at
point on
all.
it. And we're not trying to minimize the immigration thing either. I think to me that's what's interesting about it, and why I'm trying to say if you just break down the understanding of why it would go to the states. To me, there's no malice in that kind of a decision, right? Because what I realize is not what another 40 to 50% of or even 60% of the country believes, regardless of whether I believe it or not. And the whole purpose and intent of the United States and the republic we live in, not necessarily just the democracy, but the republic that we live in, the entire point of it is to allow for options. And every time we options are removed from us, right, is when it becomes an issue. So when we look at something like that, at least half of the country doesn't think that anybody should just be able to go get an abortion whenever they want. And so they said, well, then let's leave it to the states. So now we have 50 different opportunities instead of we're making one decision here at the Supreme Court.
Well, I think
We're
we
now
should
opening it up
No,
to
it's not 50.
opportunities.
Well,
It's
sorry,
not 50
but I'm
different
just-
opportunities.
Okay,
I
Hey,
shouldn't
think-
have to go outside of my state to get what I want done medically.
Not to
I should-
be a
Or
downer here.
dentally too. I
Hold
mean,
on,
people go out
hold
of
on.
their states all the time to even get dental work. So I mean,
Yeah.
it is what you put a priority on,
Not to be a downer here, but the
It
original
has
question, what
to
was the
be the
probability?
Or if
And
you have a child or not. I think that it's really important that we go in and say that everybody should be that. So it's not only women, then it's also men. So men shouldn't be allowed to, when we say getting an abortion, then why don't we just say just getting a child? So we can just say everybody shouldn't get a child until that's approved by the state.
Yeah, right.
Damn,
That's
talk
not
about
ridiculous.
communist.
yeah, this
Well, I mean, where does it stop, right?
Hold
Where
on,
does it
Sasha,
stop?
can you explain that?
You said that you wanted
Like in China, only one kid.
you wanted a president that you would fear. You said that earlier, Rocco.
Yeah, well, I think
No,
we should have a
country,
president.
country.
A country should fear.
Well, no,
That is also
I said
Other countries. He's
And-
saying
yes,
Yeah.
You want
that we
leadership.
should be respected by
Well,
other
respected
countries.
and fear is two different things. I don't think that people respect Trump, to be honest.
Right.
When Trump won the first time, I felt fear because I thought we were going to have war, but it was the opposite. I didn't know. When Biden won, I didn't feel fear. I was, okay, Biden won.
In all actuality, within 4 years, the 4 years that he was in, there was not one conflict across the
Exactly.
world.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
whether you like him or not, the bottom line was people didn't want to mess with America at that point. The minute that Trump was out, all of a sudden we had terrorists everywhere. We had
That's
Russia
what
attacking Ukraine.
All hell broke
It,
loose.
you know, and I've heard
We had
that.
it.
I
We
heard
had
that
it
across
this
the board
century.
when I went to Europe. Everybody's like, man, you guys need to get that guy. I didn't like him before, they said, but you just need to get him in because everything was safe when he did it because nobody wanted to mess up. And I think that's what he's saying in a sense. It's like a policing. You know, when I was in the military, I never understood what they meant by you know, America's the police. I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean we're the police? You know, and what it comes down to is they have a piece of the pot and all over the world. Since I first heard that, I learned a lot of history, especially World War II. If it doesn't help America out, they wouldn't put they wouldn't care. And it seems like America is all over the world. They have spots that they care about. They have spots that if it's going to help them economically or help the world economically, they put their 2 cents in. But in the meantime, I realize that, you know, when Trump was in, whether we like him or not, when Trump was in, there was no war. Ever since then, you know, it's been crazy. And, you know, it just comes down to the fact that, like, you know, it is what it is. But I could tell you this. So we the original question, we've only been through one. What was with the probability? You know, Odair said 95%. Amanda and Brana said that they believe, you know, and Sasha said that they believe Camilla's going to win. You know, Holly, what is your
that's not what Brana
probability?
said, I don't think.
I said I have no idea. I'm
Oh
always
yeah,
wrong
yeah,
and
yeah. I'm
very
sorry. I'm
close.
sorry. But I mean, really, Holly, what is your thoughts on it?
Honestly, here's the deal. He's down, Trump is down, and the reality is Kamala's on top. You know, the reality is she's being endorsed by a lot. Look at her endorsements, for heaven's sake. I mean, she's got so many endorsements and everything. And you know, it's just one of those things. She's endorsed by too many people. She's got too much, you know, too many finances. Now she's probably got in the billions that are financing everything. And just it's right now it's the endorsements. It right now is about how many times we hear, oh, we need to change, we need to change, we need to change. So everyone's going to pick change, and everyone's really going to pick, you know, what this state, you know, they say, oh, this state needs a new type of thing. And so that's what it's going to be. It's going to be who's endorsed the most. It's going to be.
And what's crazy is so crazy. No one voted for Harris. It literally, that the monster behind the Democratic Party that no one sees decided to literally kick Biden out and just pop up. Okay, everyone's going to like Harris, and let's put this machine behind her.
Actually,
That's what's scary.
no one thought
That's
people
what's
were going to like
scary.
Harris. But
It's
here's the
not
thing:
the-
no one
That's
thought
what's
people were going to
scary.
like Harris. Her ratings were terrible, and that she wasn't really in the public eye as VP. You know, she was really working behind the scenes a lot, and nobody really knew anything about her. This was a total gamble, in my view. And they were like, let's just see what happens. You know what I mean? But I think Biden stepping down was super patriotic. He put the country first.
I
It's
think
not really
it was
a gamble because it's the vice president in
manufactured.
power now, and it's not the change candidate. It's the same candidate. So that's why I'm just very confused by the.
It's the change candidate because she's a woman.
It's not
a
the
lion gets
change
vicious, and a lion becomes like deadly when it's cornered. And you know what? I'm just gonna say this, and I'm gonna ask Corey on his opinion. I'm pretty sure I understand it, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now. Look, my entire life, I've been an athlete. I've been in the entertainment industry. I've done everything. I've always been kind of in the middle. It's like, hey, can we all just get along? And over the years, I just feel like what Chuck Norris said. He goes, I used to be a liberal, but they've pulled so far left. Now the conservatives are in my corner. And it's the same thing with the Kennedys. I was shocked. I'm a huge I guess you could say historian on the Kennedy assassination. So in order for a Kennedy that to endorse Trump was amazing. I didn't know this until I found out earlier that when Trump was still a Democrat, one of his best friends was JFK Jr. And he was behind the scenes trying to say, hey, we got to make this right. There's something about, you know, and when I say the deep state, I'm not talking about the fairy tale thing that we all hear about. I'm talking about there's powerful people behind the scenes that none of us know about And if we do know about him, it's highly, secretive. But there were some people that wanted Kennedy dead. In fact, everybody wanted Kennedy dead, and his own son made it his life mission to prove that case for him and his uncle dying. And I knew Trump wanted to get into that. And I saw an interview where Trump had said when he got into the presidency, he wanted to release all the files on the JFK that was out there, but he was told that he's not supposed to release it. Yeah, there's too many people still alive. There's too much. The American public can't handle it, and he went along with it. Now he's saying that I'm completely not only going to allow it to all go out. It was a big mistake on his part. Now he has a Kennedy who's going to put in charge of all that to release it and start a whole new investigation and put it out there. So I look at it this way, that ultimately, look, I've never in my wildest dreams could have ever thought that Kamala Harris could have been a possible candidate. Unless something happened to Biden and by law, the VP becomes the president. And just looking on the outside, looking in, you cannot take a word for what she says is reality. And I think what happened is she's an actual pawn. I don't even think Biden knew what the hell he was doing. There are people behind the scenes that are running the Democratic Party, and they are running everything. And Kamala is nothing but a pawn. In fact, you're now finding out that half the crap that she was supposedly behind, she's against Biden. And it makes no sense to me. I think what has happened is it's come down to a party that is more worried about your sexual orientation and throwing that out there, and than it is about what's good for the American people.
But
And
right now you're gaslighting. You're gaslighting. This is all gaslighting.
Yeah, this is very conspiracy theory driven
okay,
as well.
so I don't think it's a conspiracy when I know for a fact
he's just backing it up by research.
I'm
though,
backing
right?
it up with research. I'm backing up look, I have a lot of friends,
Biden, she's that doesn't make any sense.
But she's okay. Have you ever actually listened to her and actually understood a damn word that comes out of that woman's mouth?
100% I have.
I haven't, because I'm looking at her like, you got to be kidding me, and I don't care about the conspiracy theories. I don't care about what I've heard. I just listen to her talk and I'm like, this woman doesn't even know what she's talking about. In fact, I felt bad for Biden. I thought Biden might have had a good fight in the fight, and he was saying that he was getting senile, but all of a sudden he started losing it, and then Kamala comes on, and it's like, God, she's worse than him. And it's
I feel bad for Biden too. What they did to him was wrong. I think
it was senior abuse. I mean, the guy does not belong there.
I had a stepdad who passed when he was like 89, and right around 81 years old, he started to cognitively decline, and he just didn't know where he was at. Sometimes didn't know what he was saying. He'd lose his speech and he'd slur, and he'd have that kind of head and the deer in headlights look.
Yeah.
Just like Biden had in the debate. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I couldn't believe what I was watching, but I understood it because I had personal experience with that. And these are unprecedented times that we're living through. This is a part of history that is going to be talked about until I don't even know when, until the earth isn't here anymore. Like, this is so intense and so amazing and beautiful and crazy and scary at the same time. But what I think is really, really cool is all the opposing views on this call and how we're trying to understand each other. And this is what America is, right?
Yeah,
this is the kind of representative that we need.
We need to be hired. We are the American brand, FNL Network.
we
millions
are.
of dollars, and we will rebrand you. $1 million a year, each of us.
Honestly, I thought on the outside looking in,
endorsements coming.
I
thought Kennedy was, I mean, when I thought about it, I said Kennedy would be the best person for the Democratic Party, because that guy, he other than the fact that he has a problem talking, and getting his views across, I thought, well, man, this guy, why doesn't the Democratic Party get behind him? That would be a good fight against Trump, in my opinion. But there were
too many loose ends with him and conspiracy theories. I was going to vote for him too. I was like, oh my God, a Kennedy, because my mom worked for the Kennedys back when JFK was running. Like, she marched with Dr. Martin Luther King. Like, she was involved in all of that. Like, I still have the running pins that they had. So yeah, it was super amazing. So
Amanda,
go ahead.
I have a question. Do you believe the Democratic Party is the same party when your mom was with them that they are today?
No, because time has evolved and we're still dealing with a lot of the same issues, but I think that time has evolved and no party is the same. Like no, just like we're not the same people, so we're dealing with just a different way of looking at things and a different way of dealing with things. And because we're so polarized right now and so divided, I'm not sure that it was really like that back then, but also too, there wasn't a lot of room to speak freely. There wasn't a lot of, that's what like Woodstock was happening and like, the women's right things were happening and like black rights, all these things were happening to try to get our voices heard and still coming up against the patriarchy and like all the things. So no, I don't think it's the same party, but I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I think that we are evolving, and as you evolve, it's like the caterpillar to the butterfly. You don't know what you're going to be. You're like stuck in this cocoon and it's all goopy and yucky inside, but then all of a sudden you come out with these gorgeous wings. So we just don't know where we're going. And I think if we try to pigeonhole or summarize things and try to make it mean something all of the time, then we lose the meaning in the journey. We just have to let things unfold and work together as an America instead of trying to figure it out all the time and then pin one person against the other, because we just honestly don't know. That's my view.
Well, we've gone a long time on one question, and I honestly thought
fun.
that we'd all stare apart and be like, bam, 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 we're done. We haven't even got to Corey's opinion. And even though Corey likes to say his opinion, hey, Corey, what's your thoughts on this?
First, just to answer your question simply, the first time around, I did not think he was going to be president, and then he was, and I was surprised. Second time around, I was pretty certain he had it in the bag, and then he didn't, and I was surprised. So it's really hard to say at this point in time, right? A lot of it is shocking me for a lot of different reasons, and then at the same time, I'm like, yeah, that's just kind of what it's like, right? Sometimes we look at things like we're saying, that politics have changed. I'm like, they kind of have and they kind of haven't. I mean, JFK was shot, right? Abraham Lincoln was shot. There was a civil war in this country. One of the earliest founding fathers was shot in a duel out front. They've been doing things like this since the very beginning. It's been a dangerous game since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, I saw someone the other day, Cuomo, right, was at the DNC, and he took a moment. He's looking around at all these huge seats, right, and these box seatings that they have, just like as if you're at an NFL game. And he's pointing out, saying, hey, make no mistake, no matter what is being said on this stage, that box seat goes for $500,000 a chair. That one's over $1 million per chair. Make no mistake, whatever she's saying behind me about we're for you and we're against big corporations, who do you think is actually running this? Right? And that's on the DNC side. That's on that side. And if you go to the Republican convention, you're going to see the same thing. So when we're talking about, oh, she has all these endorsements, she has all this money behind her, that's true. But where was everybody 4 years ago when she tried to be president? She had the lowest rating out of anybody and didn't even get voted in at the lowest level of even being one of the candidates. She had the lowest numbers out of everybody on that stage, and everyone's virtually forgot half of the other names that were even on the stage at the time, and she had lower numbers than any of them.
Can I say that Roe v. Wade hadn't been overturned yet either? So I think that has a lot to do with it.
But see, it does. But see, how many people are going to make this a one issue vote? How many people are going to do that to the whole rest of the country?
Now I'm not.
Let me put it this way. This is what I want to get at. Let me put it this way. When I look at this, people are talking about, oh, do we run it like a corporation, things like that. Sure, it does. But here's how I look at it. Break it down into its simplest terms. And this is going to sound weird at first, but let's say
sounds weird.
The apocalypse occurs. We have nothing. We have nothing that all of our niceties, all the things we love and have are gone. We have to come together as a group now, and we have to establish, how are we going to get food? How are we going to get water? How are we going to set up communications? So we're much, much, much further down the road from that now in America, way down the road, but it is still exactly supposed to be that concept. How do we do this? How do we get cleaner water? And what I've noticed, and I've said this on this show before, you can take red ants and black ants and put them in the same jar, and they will live together just fine. Until someone comes along and shakes the jar up, they blame each other and kill each other, right? Government are those people shaking the jar while the rest of us are red and black ants. We got our opinions, we got our differences, but we got someone else up there telling us things that we're all repeating verbatim, right? For instance, whenever I have these conversations about Trump, every time it's the same exact things that I hear. He's racist, he's against women, he's this, he's that. And I go, okay, I've been told that he is those things. I've not seen those things. And as far as branding goes, I have seen someone like Harris get up there and say a whole lot of stuff. But again, Rocco brought up a very interesting challenge. I would be willing to bet that if we sat down and went to both of their sites and made a list of the actual policies and accomplishments of either side, there's not a lot of those things that you guys are even aware of that are on her side of things. That's
Which is
something
interesting how they picked her when she's against Biden.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet, and she's sitting here even talking crap about the economy for the last 4 years. You had a part to play in that. Your immigration that you were supposed to be in charge of had a huge part to play. So it's very interesting that we want to remove immigration from the conversation when that is exactly what this woman was in charge of and failed miserably at. Right?
We cannot erase the last
job.
3.5 years.
And that has affected the economy.
To show us 3.5 years, what can she do? That's what's
She
crazy.
literally
It's like
even made a speech.
I
mean,
have
she literally
one
even made a
question for
speech about her
everybody,
motives.
and it's a simple question, and I think Odair brought it up, or Rocco, I can't remember now. I mean, we've been calling this for a while. What is the answer to the question? Were you financially better off 4 years ago than you are now?
I asked that question.
Yes.
I
could say for me, okay, I'm financially all right, but I could make more and I could be better off, and I know my future would be better, from my house all the way down, my taxes, my gas, everything. I'm financially all right because I have a decent job. But that being said, if I was living 20 years ago and I didn't have that kind of money, I can absolutely say my life is nowhere near what it used to be.
But
I just saw a thing yesterday that said, hey, I don't want to party like it's 1999. I want to go grocery shopping like it's 1999.
I think a lot of that.
The point that I'm trying to
with-
make, the point that I'm trying to make with this is that, like, you're talking about the issue of the economy, which is a valid. He's talking about the issue of immigration, which is valid. She's talking about the issue of abortion, which is valid. Right? We're talking about all these valid things. And the reason I talk about how you bring it down to the basics and we need to get water and we need to get this, we also have to prioritize which thing we need to deal with first. Because, yeah, we need food, but maybe we need water before we get that food. Or, yeah, we need this or that. But if we can't get water, if we don't have gasoline, so maybe gasoline is the thing that we all should be focused on. And I think what goes on with all of us is that when the red ant, black ant thing happens is because something like this comes up. And the vitriol comes up because now we're all of a sudden like, well, you don't care about children. Well, yes, I do. Well, you don't care about women's rights. And oh, you don't care about immigrants. Yes, we do. And so I think we all care about the environment. I think we all care about children. I think we all care about women's rights. I think we all care about all of these things. I think we all love immigrants. But is there an issue with immigration? Is there an issue with women's choice? Is there an actual issue? We have to literally look at all these things and go, okay, how do we solve them? How do we make a list of priorities? And how do we start focusing together as a group on this list of priorities together? Instead of what we're doing is the moment that I talk to anybody with Amanda's opinion, it's like all of a sudden I'm this gun-toting, and I'm not saying you said this, Amanda, but we'll get this, oh, I'm a gun-toting, woman-hating, oh, I don't want you to have rights, and I'm some sort of Christian that hates this or that, or I only think it's because it's God's child. And if we talk about immigration, oh, it's because of this and this. And if somebody talks about homosexuality, all of a sudden, oh, you hate everybody who's gay. And do you see how whenever anybody starts to have these points and make these discussions, we all of a sudden become caricatures to each other. We become one-dimensional. Oh, you're this now. Oh, you're that now. Instead of really stopping like we're trying to do today and go, yeah, we have differences of opinions. Of course we do. But none of us hate all of these things. All right. I'm not saying there aren't people out there who do. Of course, there's haters. There's jerks and there's trolls. There's always going to be bullies, jerks, and trolls living in their mom's basement, sitting there rating people at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, they're worthless. They're worthless. The majority of the rest of us, we want to find a way where, okay, let's fix our cars and fix the environment, but let's do it without destroying our economy. right? Let's get as many immigrants who are amazing and have started and begun this country. Let's get as many of them in here as we can, but let's do it in a way that they actually get to be a part of our economy and a part of our country. You know, let's fight for women's rights, but let's do it in such a way where we're making decisions based on whether or not what both sides of this thing have, because that's one of those issues where there are two sides to the argument. And so I don't want to act like there's only one. There's only one. There's not, because there's, whether I believe it or not, there's other people out there who very passionately believe both sides of that argument. We have to be able to discuss this without letting the dudes that are the corporations on both sides and the money mongers come in here and tell red and black ants how to think and act and play.
Yeah, so
I think that's important.
I'll jump in because I agree with you. And I think a reason why a lot of this doesn't actually get done in the government is because the Democrat or the Republican, they install someone with a huge conflict of interest in their administration, and
they play to it. Yeah.
When was the last time we had a president that the majority of the nation can say, you know, he's a good guy, just I don't agree with everything?
Never.
Yeah, it's been
never.
I mean, the only one that I could think of, and I might be a homer, is Reagan. I know a lot of people said that, hey, I hated his policies, but he was a great guy, you know, and I only learned that from the Presidential Museum when I went there to the Reagan Museum. But for me growing up, I was a kid. I was an ex-gen kid. I grew up and to me, he was like a grandpa. He always had something funny. He can get everybody in the room, whether you hated each other or not, to laugh and enjoy. And I'm the kind of person that I want to get in the room. Can we all laugh at how absurd we sound half the time? You know, can we all get along? You know, I see everybody in this panel. We can be super strong, super opinionated, but I don't see any of you in a way where I'm like, oh man, I don't want to talk to that person again. You know, I'm not like that. Now I'm hoping and I'm thinking there's no reason we would be here and we weren't in the entertainment industry like we are if everybody here were thinking like that. I hope that's not the case, but I think what everybody's saying.
I don't get that way at all, David. I genuinely love to talk to people who disagree.
I know you do. I know you do.
I really want to. I want to find out why you feel how you feel. I want to know. I'm like, yeah, tell me.
I think a lot of people,
actually interested. We're both
a lot of people take offense,
but I'm actually interested.
People take offense. I don't take offense. I'm just like, ugh, you know, if anything, I think to myself, whatever I just said, he or she hates me now. You know, that's the only thing I can think of. I don't.
You have to risk that. You have to.
It doesn't bug me. Yeah, but the good thing is we wouldn't be on the show if every one of us didn't have our opinions, and every one of. I mean, it wouldn't even be a good show if we all agreed.
Right.
I mean,
that's right.
We can at least agree on that part. You know?
I disagree, David.
But seriously, I think that's what makes America great. I think the good thing about America is that it is so bipolar in a lot of aspects. I think the majority of us want to find a middle ground that we can all say, hey, let's give and take on either side. And it seems like you guys, everybody here has said in the last, I'd say 10 years, it has to be this way or it's wrong, or it has to be this way and it's completely wrong. We haven't been able to find it. And I think our corporate leaders, our presidential candidates, they go so extreme on either side that us middle people, us Americans, the actual people that actually count, we don't have a voice. And so what do? Like Corey said, they take the black ants and the red ants and they shake them up, and then we fight each other. And guess what? They win. You know, I used to do that all the time with my dad. My dad was a very, hard, he had his thought process. He wanted to do what he wants. And my mom was very opinionated and would say her thing. And I knew that when my dad was mad at me and I screwed up, if I pissed him off enough, he's going to get so mad that he's going to do something stupid. And my mom's going to be completely pissed off at him. And guess what? Now they're fighting and I can sit back and go, whew, I dodged that bullet, but I think that's what happens with our government. I think that's what happens with our politicians. I think that's what's happening across the world. And right now, everybody's waiting for November to see what happens. I don't think it's going to be as bad as we all want to think. We keep thinking in the back of our minds, like, oh man, the media will tell us it's about to be World War III. It's going to be crazy. I don't think it is. Just like you guys all said, everybody was shocked that Trump got in the first time. Everybody was shocked that he didn't get in the second time. Everybody was shocked that Kamala, all of a sudden, who everybody hated, is now the leading candidate. Everybody's shocked that Kennedy's in. I think we all just need to sit back and, figure out, hey, can anybody bring this country together? And who is that going to be? That's the ultimate question. So,
and actually what you said, to hop on that part, what's coming back all the time is the part of that we're shocked all the time.
yeah, we are. We're all shocked.
So the
Like,
brand,
wow.
so the brand of this is creating shock and distraction for them to do what
It's
they
like
have.
we're watching a 15-year series of Lost, and we're like, what the hell? Are you serious? I waited all these years to find out that. No, I'm not going to blow up for everybody that hasn't seen Lost yet.
I would love for all the distractions to go away, and it's just being a clean and visionary conversation about what's necessary, what needs to be done, and how can we do this as America in this
That's
case.
the goal, right? That's the goal.
Agreed.
Like we all talk about hating politics because that's the important stuff we got to talk about. Come in and say hi and how's it going? Have a beer together, hang out. We all can do that. Have a blast. It's when we got to talk about the important stuff, and that's what politics is. And these politicians are people who come in and go, "Hey, I'm a pro at this." And well, if you're going to claim to be a pro and get all this money thrown behind you, you should have some solutions. You should have some leadership. You should be the one that's like, hey, let's all, get to that point where we're talking about this, but we should still be able to have a beer together later. And, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like that. And I think that's why I say it's us, the people. We're Americans. It's for the people, by the people. We're the ones that have to get along with each other despite what the vitriol and everything else is that's going on. The corporations, the news, everything, it has us over here. And I'm like, dude, most of these people I know that disagree with me are not my enemies by any means, and we just see that a lot of people, they
but
people
also
are passionate about it and they don't know how to handle that kind of conversation, or they don't know how to communicate it properly, and then it becomes anger.
People get overly passionate, and I hate to use the word offended, because I think that's been thrown out too much. But I think people feel like, man, you know what? I thought we were friends. That's what comes down to it. And I have to say this, guys. This may be the first show we've done where we've only stuck to one topic. But I really thought the second question was going to be the one. But I'm gonna hold the second question for the next time I host. But I do have one quick and easy question. It might be easy for everybody, just to end the show on a good note. Football season is here between now and February. Okay. And I'm talking about American football for all you Europeans out there. Up until February, there is going to be a football game every single solitary week. And in America, okay, I went to Europe and I found out real quick that when football season's not in, I better start to like soccer. Because if I don't like soccer, I'm going to be left out of every party and everything they're doing. So, as much as I grew up hating soccer, in 2 months, I learned to appreciate it. But now football's back. And so my question to everybody is, who is your favorite, football team, NFL, college, or both? And we don't even have to get into it all the way. I just want to know just something fun. I'm going to start with Sasha. Sasha, do you have any favorite football teams?
The hottest guys.
Right?
Oh, they all play on the Packers from what I hear.
Oh, really?
That's so funny.
Okay. Rocco.
I now understand why you're a Packers fan, David.
Oh, wow.
That's funny. I used to follow football and I would follow the Chargers, but I stopped because I found myself getting so emotionally attached and angry when they didn't win. I was like, I'm not going to waste my energy on this anymore. So I stopped watching football.
No
for
college teams?
Several years now. No, nothing.
Oh, so you're a Notre Dame fan now.
I guess. No, my favorite sport actually is boxing. I really like boxing.
Oh, talking about nothing but drama and fake news.
It's hard to hate. You used to box, didn't you used to box?
I did, yeah. Yep, and I was trained by Pinklin Thomas, actually, former heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Odair, do you follow football in any way, shape, or form?
No, I don't actually. The only thing that I know is that I like to play it myself.
Oh, okay.
Besides that, I used to play it when I was little, and besides that, I'm not a fan of football. I'm not a fan of soccer, so I'm Switzerland in this case.
Switzerland. It makes sense. It makes sense. Amanda, what about you?
So I'm from LA, so I got to go for the Rams, but I also love Travis Kelce, so Chiefs.
That works. That works. Hey, good
I think
one.
he's so cute.
Any college teams for you?
Me? No. No, it's kind of what I forget her name. I'm so sorry. Shannon, I believe. She said, yeah, whatever like the hottest people are on the team. That's
Sasha.
really why I watch Sasha, sorry, honey. That's why I watch football, is because to look at the guys. It's just it's those kind of things. Hot guys in tight pants.
Oh man. Brana.
The US Open is coming up.
That's your
Definitely
bag, huh?
not football, but hey, it's
sport.
good. It's a sport. Definitely. Well, I already know Corey's, but go ahead, Corey.
Dolphins, man. For professionals, the Dolphins, but I'm a bigger fan of Notre Dame than anything. College ball, Notre Dame, you know that.
Yep.
We're what are
Holly?
we, fourth generation now, right?
Oh, big time.
Who's Mike Tacoma, right? Isn't he is an athlete? What team was he on? I'm not into NFL.
Tacoma?
Yeah, Mike Tacoma, wasn't he he's like the new player right now that's like scoring. I have no idea what team he's on. Like I said, I'm not in the NFL. I have a sibling who's he's a lot like Rocco's opinion. You get too much into it, so apparently I'm feeding off of his energy. But I'm a basketball all the way. But Amanda, a little key: go for the coach. Don't go for the athletes, because the coach controls the athletes.
Yeah.
Noted.
Well, when it comes to sports, and I mean for football in itself, I coach my own team. If I wasn't coaching football, and by the way, my flag football team is undefeated right now, both JV and varsity, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Congratulations.
Flag football in America is the #1 growing sport. In fact, we're going to have it in the Olympics in 4 years. So I feel like I am a pioneer in it. So I'm super excited about that. But if I wasn't coaching football in any way, shape, or form, I became very depressed, because I've been a Notre Dame and Packer fan my whole life. And in the time I've been alive, Notre Dame's only won 1 national championship in my lifetime, and the Packers have won 2. So out of 50 years, that means 48 years I've been completely miserable and pissed off at the world. But that being said, I'm still a Packer Notre Dame fan, and I'm excited. I'm excited for this year and all in general. And hey, I had a great time today, guys. I thought this was a great show. I think the first time ever, I only needed one question. Damn, I spent all these time trying to think of good thought processing questions. But the good news is I can roll it over the next time I host. It was amazing to have Amanda here for the first time. It was amazing to finally work with Odair. It was great seeing everybody again. Holly, you made it with your busy ass schedule. That's good. Rocco, you're about ready to leave us for a long time again. You're going back around the world again, feeding the world, doing what you do. So, hey, I look forward. I'm hoping in October when we come out here, or everybody comes out here, I'm hoping I get a chance. I can get away from my work to be able to come down and see everybody. If not, I look very much forward to the Taste Awards this year, which I'm pretty sure every one of us are going to be there for that one this year. But other than that, till next time, guys, you guys have a wonderful time. Peace out. Take it easy. Love you later.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.